hippie hair. Gotta get a haircut. I gotta go to a guy. Ridiculous. Everybody, how are you all doing? We're hanging out here. Whoa. What's going on there? Channel members are checking in. We're live here. This is what we do on 20 Minutes of Coffee. Live for channel members. Broadcast to the rest of you later on. It's a chance for me to connect with my channel members, say hello, hang out, and also talk to all of you on the news of the world as it comes to me and whatever pops up into my brain and all of our brains here today. I am a man of my word sometimes. Man of my word. Michael McCarsel's here. Says we're awake. Thank you for being here. Taking time off your studies. On my show yesterday, my Blathering Live, thank you to those that hung out. As we continue to improve the phone call system, it's going to get better. I think I have a way to make sure I get the best in sound quality on the phone calls. The phone calls might always be a little low. That's fine. That's kind of what it is. When you used to hear those radio shows back in the day, that would be it, right? That would be it. The radio, it sounded like someone was calling from a payphone somewhere. That's what we want. But anyways, on the show yesterday, I did mention that I was out of coffee around the house. And what was I going to do for 20 minutes of coffee? I can't lie to you. So I didn't lie to you. I did go to my 7-Eleven. I did go to my favorite 7-Eleven. And, okay, I can't hide this. I also got a strawberry. Strawberry in cream Danish. Notice it's gone. I don't even want to look at the information on it. 450 calories. There's no way I can burn just this off today. Unless you're counting stress. Man, what did I do? I have not been able to work out properly since December because of these various injuries I have, which are just time catching up with me, I guess. And here I am having that. That's brekkie. David McKay's here. That was the brekkie. That was the brekkie. That was it. More than I deserve. But the coffee is good. 7-Eleven coffee. Don't sleep on it. I got the blueberry and a little French vanilla mix because we're highfalutin. Michael McCarsel says live in chat, sometimes a good gas station's coffee just hits right. Yeah, it does. Especially when you're on the road. A little early morning coffee, you got a road trip or something like that. You stop off at a 7-Eleven or a Gas and Gulp or a Pump and Chump or whatever you choose. A Love's, a Pilot's, whatever. And get a little crappy coffee that feels so good. This is a big nerd day here. I should get this over here. Let me take a look. Nerd day because House of the Dragon released 2 trailers. I don't know if we're going to be firing up Casterly Talk for those. We might talk about it on Anytime with Ken and Olden tomorrow. I do like the approach of 2 trailers. But here's some of the news that's going on. This was kind of breaking during my live show yesterday. Dave McKay says, pretty sure we don't have a 7-Eleven over here. Well, all right. There was a good convenience store near the Excel Center I went to. They had some great coffee. Can't remember the name of it. I don't think it's a chain. With it, I got the basics. And do I think it's somewhat fishy? Yeah, I actually do. I'm not here for, I don't love my conspiracy. I love listening to conspiracy theories, but I don't believe in them all the time. And I think they, I don't know, often hide the truth. But we got this one, and we still have Princess Kate, a conspiracy theory that will not die. We got the health of the King of England. That's that conspiracy theory going strong. I don't know if it's a theory or just people wondering. We'll get to that in a second. But anyways, Nerd Day. I enjoyed the House of the Dragon trailers. I like the introducing green and introducing black trailers. I thought that was great. I still got to ramp up to get to that show though. Love Game of Thrones is one of the more important things. All right here are just a massive amount of Game of Thrones like merch and look, I got my little Daenerys. I got my tiny little Funko Pop Daenerys. She's sitting on a throne right there. And I love House of the Dragon. It just didn't. It's not that it didn't pull me in. It's just I think there might have been. There's so much going on right now in not just the world but the pop culture world. There's so much to take in, and I think I just got to the point with House of the Dragon where I just kind of want to watch it and not worry about breaking it down. But Cash Leads Talk is still a channel that's alive, so we'll probably fire it up to review the show when it begins June 16th. But I like the trailer. I got to go kind of refresh my memory and brain on everything in the show. So your thoughts on that, your thoughts on where you're at with a lot of this stuff, and as this 10-plus year ride of pop culture nerddom. I say, about 2012, MCU exploding. It's fascinating. There should be a docuseries on the rise of the nerd, going back to X-Men around 2000, all that kind of stuff. Batman, you can do that. But over the last 10 years or so, the rise of digital media, punditry, and exploding these fandoms out, I think you're just being inundated so much, and I can only invest so much energy. And that's kind of where I'm at. But maybe that's because I have gray in my beard. When I went to 7-Eleven this morning, my favorite 7-Eleven and my favorite employee, I was checking out with my coffee, and he goes, "Hey, how old are you?" I told him, 47. And he's like, yeah, you got it. Yeah, nice. He wouldn't finish his sentence. Nice, gray, a lot of gray. Yeah, I do. A lot of gray. Getting worse by the day. I don't know if that was an appropriate line of question from him, but I don't know if I'm good for my age or bad for my age. The beard doesn't help. The beard doesn't help. Michael McCarthy says, "I think there should be a doc, and I think you should make it." One of the jobs I'm working now, it's teaching me a little bit more about how to put together narrative based on research. Taking notes and stuff and making little mini docs. And watching Jennifer Landa do it on Force Center up close and personal, watching her kind of put together what she's doing with the Jedi Beat, what she had done. It's been good. Anyway, to the Otani story, talking about conspiracy theories, talking about the King of England, Princess Kate. Do I think reading, and here's the basics for anyone who is not caught up to date. Shohei Otani, whose legal name is spelled Otani, at least in our American translation, but he has an H in it there publicly. It's great. I don't understand. I'm fascinated by that stuff. Different naming conventions around the world. Otani is the King of England. This is David McKay, channel member, live in chat, peddling good conspiracy theories. Long story short, Otani, who just signed that big contract with the Dodgers and made his official debut this week, last couple nights, right? They've been playing in Korea against the Padres, an official league game. And he's had, since 2018, he's had an interpreter who everyone refers to as saying having a brotherhood that goes beyond friendship, at least according to this ESPN report. They've always been close. And his interpreter, Mizuhara, forget his first name. Where is it? It's some name I probably won't be able to say properly with respect. Ipei Mizuhara. There you go. Make fun of my American tongue all you want. They have been very close. They're not just boss, employee, co-workers. They're described as brothers. And they fired, the Dodgers, in that scenario, fired Mizuhara yesterday, and saying that Otani was a victim of theft. But what had happened is there's a gambler, a bookie, whatever you want to call him, who's under federal investigation. And in the course of the investigation in January, there was these wire transfers in the amount totaling, I think, at $500,000 or something a pop, but they were totaling $4.5 million. Sent from Otani's bank to a bookmaking operation. That set off a series of events, according to ESPN. And what has basically happened now is, I believe, again, put on the tinfoil hats, I believe that interpreter is taking a fall. And I do not think Otani's betting. I do not think he's betting on baseball. I don't even think the interpreter's betting on baseball. He has addressed that, and I kind of believe him, because you'd have to be absolutely insane to continue to bet on baseball while working at baseball, because he even mentions we have meetings on it every spring training before the season. And that is true. But something ain't right. And there's been this turnaround where now there's kind of the guy Otani's a victim of theft. Otani's upset, all this stuff. In the dugout before this happened, not too long before this happened, they were the best of friends. It's just nothing looked wrong. So I think there is something a little fishy going on. I text Cody Hall today. Everyone knows Cody Hall from the Wangers, right? If you don't, you should. I text Cody Hall today, and Cody, I said, good time to be an Angels fan. He goes, this has just been great. I don't know. I don't think it'll end up with Ohtani being banned from baseball like Pete Rose or something like that, but I think more is going to come out. And there could be more of this. There has been a lot of conversation around baseball and all of professional sports related to gambling and the relationships these professional leagues now have with gambling sources like FanDuel and whatnot. And I was mentioning it on the stream last night. Yeah, Brian Tillers in chat says, yeah, it smells a little. It's just not what it's being advertised as. Right, Brian? That Ohtani sent this money, seemed to cover the gambling losses of his good friend, not just interpreter, but his good friend. And then Mizuhara sat down for an interview. That was what was weird. It was like an interview yesterday or the day before. It was like a 90-minute interview addressing this stuff. And then the publicist after the interview was like, oh, we're pulling the interview. Don't rare it. We don't stand by him on anything. Don't stand by him on anything on this. So this is interesting, which is unfortunate for baseball as they start a new season. Ohtani, the biggest star, poster child for the game. He's amazing. And now this cloud's going to hang over this season. So, anyways, I don't have any evidence. None of us have any evidence. But as Brian Tiller says in chat, it just smells a little. Something ain't right with this. Just like the Princess Kate stuff. But that's the thing, though. If you watch one too many TikToks, you'll start believing that Kate Middleton is dead, gone, left, divorced, or so. That's why conspiracy theories are so fun, but they're so dangerous, man. So dangerous. And believing and hyping and getting people to believe what you need, it's all slippery slope. Brian Tiller says, I also know it's not your thing. Beers and brackets. The madness begins today. That's right. March Madness begins today. That is the month in which I lose Mark Ellis as a friend. I don't get to see or hang out with Mark Ellis in March or during March Madness. It just it doesn't happen. He's all in on it. Beers and brackets, indeed. Even he and Makuga will text, and I'll be on the thread, and I just don't know any references. So, but happy Beers and Brackets Day to all that celebrate. Kate was clearly just inspired by watching Midnight Nass, our friend Brian Ward's channel, do some photoshopping. That's what I think. I think that's the theory. I have up on my screen this thing here that I'm following, too. I woke up to this one. Now, I am an iPhone Apple user. I wasn't always. I was very much against Apple for a very long time. But why? It's because my dad didn't allow us to have Apples. We were a Commodore 64 family, not an Apple Macintosh 2 family or whatever it was. When I got a little older, we had PCs, and my dad, who is an engineer, by the way, and loves building his own computers and stuff like that, was like, no, we don't do Apple in this house, right? So I didn't, my first cell phones were the Nokias and Blackberries, and by the time the iPhone came out in 2007, I was a BlackBerry. I was a Palm Trio guy for a while. I do like those tactile keyboards, though. I do miss those. Anyways, I eventually switched, and one of the reasons was it was I was challenged by some folks at work and to be like, why don't you like Apple products? And I didn't have an answer. It was what my dad taught me, right? And dad teaching you stuff ain't a bad thing. But once my friend pulled out his phone, was like, here's the things I can do. And then my work forced me to get one. I had no choice. I had to carry two phones. I had an iPhone 2 or 3, and I had my BlackBerry. And then it slowly won me over. Once you're exposed to it, that's the thing in life, right? You move to a big city, and some of your small town beliefs might be challenged. Doesn't mean you're going to lose them all, but they might change because of things and the people and the situations around you. So it was the iPhone with me. So I will confess that I am an Apple head. I'm on a PC. I'm broadcasting on a PC now. I have a gaming laptop over there that I broadcast. That's what Blathering Live is on. I'd like to think I'm, pan computer. All right. But this interesting thing here of Attorney General Merrick Garland announced today, who's, I think I'm not saying this isn't important work, but I do want, there's other charges and things I'd like to have Merrick Garland doing right now against the Orange Fuhrer and not against Apple. But I also like the idea of antitrust legislation or antitrust related cases and actions. And they're saying that the lawsuit against tech giant Apple is over a variety of allegations. They're claiming they have a monopoly over the smartphone market. And I think Android users would agree. Here's the summary of it as I'm reading here from CNN Business. Apple uses its control over iOS, the phone operating system, to block innovative new apps and cloud streaming services from the public. It degrades how Android messages appear on iPhones. We know that's true. Restricts how competing smartwatches can work with iPhones. I don't have a smartwatch, but I guess that's true. And hinders rival payment solutions. Garland claimed that Apple's monopoly over the smartphone market. We allege that Apple has consolidated its monopoly power, not by making its own products better, but by making other products worse. Look, I love my iPhones. Love them. Love the connectability. Love that I can text from this phone and answer it on my laptop. I love all the stuff. I don't think anything here's wrong. Here's what their complaint points to remedies that could be emerge from this. Preventing Apple's current control approach to its App Store. Limiting Apple from using its private APIs to determine cross-platform technologies like messaging, smartwatches, and digital watches, among others. Preventing Apple from using terms and conditions for developers, accessory makers, and consumers and others to, quote, obtain and maintain, extend, or entrench a monopoly. Restoring competitive conditions and awarding plaintiffs reasonable attorney fees and other costs. Okay. Yeah, look, I'm fine with this a little bit. My buddy Brian Tiller here is in chat. He has an Android, and I can't text him from this computer that I'm on, the Mac right here, where I love texting. Most of my texting is done from my MacBook. He has an Android. It won't let me do it. Still to this day. Obviously, there's different. I can't. They're pushing you towards wanting to be on one system. It is, I guess, a competitive thing, but it doesn't. Yeah, something's fishy. Okay, I could be behind this. I'm not switching to an Android. I don't like Androids. Any of my friends who are on an Android and have shown me an Android, I go, it's not for me. I don't want to be on a Google Pixel. I don't want to be on that. But maybe I'm a sucker. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Harrison Gibson in chat. Thank you for being here, Harrison. So I'd like Merrick Garland to explain why on earth he thought appointing a partisan like Robert Hur special counsel was a good idea. Yeah. Again, Garland, I know he was this close to the Supreme Court. I would have liked that to happen. I guess it would have been better than what he's doing right now. Yeah, he's got some missteps. I absolutely think that's fair. Harrison adds, and I think this is good information to add. I think it's going to be difficult to assert that Apple is a monopoly when Android has a 40% market share. Yeah, I think, good questions to ask. I know this might be, you're going to get a lot of, I'm reading here, you're going to have a lot of folks on the Android side saying this is right, and maybe folks on the Apple side. What a fight. That's the true civil war. But it is funny. There was a stand-up comic, I forget her name. I didn't know who she was. She was just, we were at Flappers one night, and she was in the green room. I think she's done some of the bits on stage. She was in the green room just talking about, like the, how it's, how she describe it. But it basically said she had an Android. She's like, there's such a bias in the world against anyone who doesn't have an iPhone that is just assumed. And that in the way you text or the way you communicate or the way you're going to share information or just the way you talk about things, people sending Apple Map instead of Google Maps or something like that. She's like, it's just time until you get an Android, you don't see that everyone has a bias against you. That people just assume society is walking around with iPhones. And I thought it was a pretty interesting way of looking at it. Apple claims the Department of Justice has had to adjust its legal theories repeatedly to fit this investigation and case. That might be so. They also say more open ecosystem could bring downsides. I don't know. We'll see about this. Fun to watch. Final thing I want to talk about today, because we do have to go sooner than later. Why? I'll tell you why, because we got a vet appointment today. And Michael McCarcel says this. In Europe, Apple's already been forced to make their devices USB-C compatible instead of using their proprietary charger. Yeah. And that's what, look, if you want to dumb it down for a dummy like me, that's the thing, right? Anytime Apple changes things, like this MacBook is, I understand technology changes and we go from USB A to B to C to D to da 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 da. But it really sucks that you have to go out and buy everything. It's just, it seems like a racket. So I think this lawsuit will have some sort of support, even if there's no legal or some legal wrangling over it. There'll be some support. Harrison says the Apple virus is very U.S., maybe Western Europe thing. Yeah, that's probably true, too. Michael says, I've gotten so much bleep from snooty iPhone users about the text being different when a message comes through. Yeah, I don't like your green text either, Michael. I don't like that either. But I'm you know what? But this is what I can't blame you. That's Apple. That's Apple. That's Apple going, look at this one. He's not one of us. So I don't like the green when it shows up either. But Michael, that's not you. This was interesting as we close out today because I remember this sketch. You see this photo up on the screen here. It's from 1992. I was a sophomore in high school. Kevin Nealon, Dana Carvey, Sharon Stone, MAGA head Rob Schneider, and the late, great Phil Hartman during an airport security check sketch. They call it skit. It's a sketch, you dummies. This is from 1992, like I said. Sharon Stone was on Dana Carvey and David Spade's podcast, which I've listened to a lot. I actually like it. There's some good conversations there. Kingsport Cal says, I will never buy an Apple product. Okay. That's fair. Yeah, there's a difference between us now, Cal, but that's all right. Dana Carvey apologized to Sharon Stone for an offensive sketch that the two were on Saturday Night Live in 1992. It was a sketch. I remember it because I loved the sketch. They were all airport security, and Sharon Stone, at the height of her Basic Instinct powers, was hosting the show. And they tricked her into removing one piece of clothes as they continued to search her. Everyone laughed. Everyone liked it. Even Sharon Stone says down below, that was funny to me. I didn't care. I was fine being the butt of the joke. But Carvey apologized to her for being in the sketch. David Spade labeled it as so offensive, which I like hearing from Spade. Spade's one of those guys who's always on the cusp. Rob Schneider's gone full kind of, not even, mega head might not even be accurate, but he's just gone full alt-righty, anti-cancel culture kind of dumbness. Carvey is one of those guys who I love, highly influenced by Dana Carvey during this period of time. In fact, his character, the other thing that Carvey apologized for was the character that he played was a quote-unquote Indian character. And he used to do a character often with the name like Tungra. He did it in his movie Opportunity Knocks, where he'd pretend to be an Indian man named Tungra. And it was one of my favorite things. I loved it, right? And that's when you look back on time in eras, that's when you start going, oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't even question that. And no one, as a 12-year-old for this being mid-teens in high school, no one told me. I used to do improv shows in junior high where I would do the Tungra character, and everyone laughed. Everyone laughed. My early days with the Groundlings, I had a character I did named Ernesto Gutierrez, who used to hang around salad bars and try to teach women to unleash their inner passion through their making of the salads. It was actually a funny sketch. I liked it. I would definitely have not cast myself as Ernesto Gutierrez if I was doing the sketch now. Carvey addresses that saying, hey, look, it's so 1992, it's from another era. And going to the Spade thing, Carvey's been on the cusp. That's where I was going with this. Carvey's been on the cusp of being one of those, hey, cancel culture kind of guys. Spade, I think, has that energy. But I was encouraged I might go listen to this episode. I was encouraged to see both of them kind of go, yeah, We don't do that anymore. I do even like some of Sharon Stone's quote here. The difference between I know the difference between a misdemeanor and a felony. I think we were all committing misdemeanors back then because we didn't think there was something wrong then. And I do think that's right. That's where she says, we didn't have this sense. That was funny to me. I didn't care. It was fine being the butt of the joke. That's how this all changes. That's how it should go. And I think we can be honest about that. I'm still finishing the book about the culture wars in comedy by Cliff Nesterhoff. It's a great read, and it's just insane to look back and see how many things people held on to as performers. Blackface being the thing I've mentioned before, but being the thing that you're almost shocked how far that goes in to modern pop culture. People going, what? No, there's no problem. And I'm not talking about something that I think was purposeful and something I like and stand by to a certain degree, like Tropic Thunder or something like that. I think that's to me it's a little different, but some people might disagree, and I'm fine with that. And I'm okay with not doing that again, right? Holding on to it. This was interesting to me. I just remember this sketch so much. I used to quote it. It's got legends in it. And I like that they're having this conversation. I think it's important to have those conversations, to look back and go, yeah, we didn't think at the time. David McKay says, yeah, my favorite movie is Give a Short Circuit 2, starring Fisher Stevens as an Indian man. Yeah. And he has talked about that, about what a huge mistake. Michael McCarcel says, something crossed the line if David Spade even admits it. Yeah, that's my thing. I was always a fan of Spadely. But, yeah. He's got that energy. They all got it. That era of male SNL stars, which was so horribly male dominated in a careless, bull in a china shop kind of way. Got that energy. But yeah, there you go. Anyways, I just want to address it. I thought it was interesting to all things going on today because I'm there. I was some who loved that sketch, and now it's okay that I don't or shouldn't. I can like some of the humor in it. I like the premise. I can understand the premise. Yeah, but maybe we move on from some of that stuff, and that's okay. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for listening. This is 20 Minutes of Coffee. We do it at least once weekly, sometimes twice. But I want to thank everyone who's been making the Blathering Live so fun. And we got the phone calls in full last night. I've got an audio issue that I think I might have fixed it using, I think I fixed it. We'll see. But it was a lot of fun talking to Cal and Brian Tiller and John Mariano, Lauren Romo, Ken Plume, a lot of people checking in, and their channel members who are getting to call in, or Patreon supporters and patreon.com/Ken Napzok. Get in there and you can watch this show live and interact with me, or you can call in on on the Blathering Live, a AM talk radio for a modern age. Hopefully. We'll see. That's it. Sip your coffee. Go to 7-Eleven. Do yourself a favor. Go to 7-Eleven. Get yourself some blueberry coffee. You'll thank me for it. Okay? Bye.